Hi, one forum news brings you the best. Please kindly subscribe to this channel. Your comments and likes will be highly appreciated. Let's take a look at something that is happening in Africa. We are talking about the organizational bodies in Africa. You can talk about the West Africa, you can talk about the South Africa, you can talk about the East Africa, you can talk about the North Africa. Yes, a lot is happening before the mother one, that is the African Union. Some are arguing that all these organizations, they are no more useful to the people or to the member countries. Yes, you may argue that yes, they are no more useful, but some also argue that they are relevant. That is why there is a need for everyone to comment at the comment section. Yeah, we need your views on this. Are they still relevant? When you talk about the AU, the African Union, is helping a lot of African countries when it comes to democracy. That is what we are visibly seeing them doing. Or when it comes to peace, because they work so hard to be able to maintain democracy in those countries. We are talking about all African countries, though they are not all that effective when it comes to, because most of the countries in Africa, or all of them, they had their sovereign state before deciding to join one organization or the other. Looking at ECOWAS, that is where the problem is these days, because when it comes to the coup, most of the countries that these coup d'etats are taking place, successfully taking place, is about ECOWAS. So let's take a look at ECOWAS, what is going on there. Now, those countries, you can talk about Burkina Faso, you can talk about Mali, you can talk about Niger. They are now blaming ECOWAS. They are even out of ECOWAS already because of one reason or the other. They claim, it's an allegation, they claim that the organization is not working for their interest, so they decide to form their own Sahel regional body that is working for them, and they are now calling for other member countries to join them. Yes, but the question is, these organizations, if they are really working for the people, would they be forcing to be out of those organizations? Because ECOWAS have been around for so long and working so hard when it comes to democracy of West African countries. Yeah, they are working so hard. But it seems there are a lot of lapses within ECOWAS also that they must look at, because it seems some people, that some member countries are not so happy with what is happening. When you look at the North Africa also, yes, they also have their group here and there, and they work so well for their interests. When you look at the East Africa, yes, you can talk about Kenya is there, you can talk about Uganda, you can talk about Rwanda and other countries in East Africa. They also have their problems and their successes. But most often than not, it seems these organizational bodies, though one way or the other, they will be very effective when it comes to maintaining peace and order, and also ensuring there is some level of democracy in Africa. They are doing so well, but some are saying that they have become so irrelevant in today Africa. But some of us can suggest comfortably that what they have to do is there is a need for them to make some reviews, especially African Union. The old ways of doing things, they need to change it a bit and make some changes. I know every day we have great scholars over there when it comes to international relations or international politics. We have great scholars over there. But I can humbly suggest that most of these organizations, they are relevant, very relevant, but there is a need for some of changes, so some of them to make some changes in some of the principles and the things that they practice. Because most of the things that they practice, or most of the principles and the rules that they go by, they belong to the past. They are no more relevant, but the organizations themselves are still relevant. That is why we need your views. You need to also comment and say something about the relevance of organization, that is the political organizational bodies in Africa. Now, let's take a look at what is happening when it comes to AU. Some of the member countries cannot even pay their dues. Yes, that's the sad aspect of it, because the countries are so broke, they don't have money to even pay their dues as members of African Union. In the past, some of them, it was some other countries that was paying for them. In the past, when this man was there, the Libyan man, Muammar Gaddafi was there, he was paying for a lot of people, a lot of members in the African Union. That's why he was trying to bring all the countries together and be their president, but that couldn't be achieved by him. That was just a dream, a pipe dream in a way. That wasn't possible or very achieved before he passed on. Now, is the AU still relevant to the member state? Because you only hear of AU if maybe there is a war somewhere, or there is some conflict somewhere, there is some coup d'etat somewhere. As well as when you can hear about the one in East Africa, as well as the one in South Africa, and ECOWAS here and there. You only hear about them in times of crisis. Are they only formed for crisis? That's the question some of us would like to ask. That is why there is a need for them to act and change certain things, so that the citizens of the African countries can feel their presence even in times of peace and in times of war. Because if they are able to feel their presence in all that they do, maybe organizing some conferences for people here and there is very important. There is no money in the system again, but they should look for funds to organize some on the ground training for the people. I'm talking about citizens, so that they can feel their presence and know that they are still there. not only be dormant but very active when it comes to situations of crisis. That is not helping Africa. That's why a lot of people, the youth, most of them though seems to have the value or to know the value of this organization. But my view is these organizations are very relevant and they are very important, especially when it comes to our democracy and peace in Africa. They are very important, but they should lift up their game to be able to work so hard in the interest of the people of Africa, for success for the citizens of Africa. And let them work so hard. Let them be very proactive. They shouldn't wait for troubles to be in those countries that they act. They should add those that are doing a lot of unconstitutional things. They should call them to order. And they should have a very stringent measures in place to be able to sanction those people. But sadly, most of their sanctions, when they are implemented, the people that are supposed to be affected are not affected. Mostly, they tend to sanction the citizens, not even the leaders. Because if you sanction a country, or if you sanction the head, or you freeze the account of a political head, there is no way that is going to affect that political head. It's the citizens that is going to affect. Yeah, that is what is happening in most of the countries. Or if you restrict them in terms of trade or here and there, it's the citizens that will suffer. So they need to work on things like that so that citizens of Africa, that is the countries, the various countries in Africa, they can think with them and reason with them that they are still relevant. I know they are still relevant, but they need to work on some of their measures and their policies for success of Africa. I wish you all the best when it comes to issues like this. By your comments and your likes will be highly appreciated. Let's keep these discussions and debates on, because that is the only way that democracy can work very well when it comes to politics of Africa. Please, for more, kindly subscribe to this channel. When it comes to politics of Africa and historical antecedents, when it comes to crime and security, we are here to analyze and bring you the best. Your comments and your likes, as always, will be highly appreciated. Thank you so much. Kindly subscribe to this channel, One Forum News. Thank you.